Hello, and welcome to Workshop Studios. What's this big giant mess behind me here? Well, this is an ongoing project, and I'll have several videos on it. Maybe they'll post up there, or this one will be posted up on top of theirs. But this is a shop redo video. And you can see the shop is, sort of organized. It's not bad, but it's in a mess right now because I'm taking everything out. But today's video is specifically about our old friend here, this workbench. And I just want to give you a quick history on that old workbench. It probably was built in the 1920s by a fellow who was a mining engineer, and then lived across the street from my parents. And when I got married and moved out, he said, "Would you like my old workbench?" And I said, "Oh, I'd be thrilled." So it has been part of my life probably for 46 years, this old bench, and it has served me so well. But its time has come. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So when our friend built it, he did a great job. You see the cross braces on it here, and excellent, basically construction and use of materials. And the fact that it has lasted me 46 years, and then before that probably lasted him 40 years, that means an 80-year-old bench that's still functional. That is a good build. But the challenge with these old benches is that, they're all wood, and the drawers are going to be the old technology of a slide there and just really sliding pretty much. Put this over here. The drawer slides right here for the most part, and on this center part. So it's not the greatest. The front of it is nailed in, so it starts to come apart. Some of these you can see need to be repaired yet again. It's already separating there. And I've repaired it multiple times just to keep those drawers intact. But also, when you get a lot of heavy stuff like nails and whatnot in a drawer, it makes it really heavy to pull out. And then it jams. Do you see how it went sideways there like that? That's typical for these. But if you're like me, you develop a friendship with these old members of your work crew, if you might, and you kind of hate to give them up, but its time has really come. And all of this stuff on top, this isn't usually quite this messy, but it does become kind of just a holding spot for it. And I think that it's time to get a little better organized. Underneath it is, having that open space is fine. Problem is it collects a lot of dirt and dust and just is messy. Plus, it's not mobile. You can see it's not got wheels or anything on it, which means it's kind of a fixed bench, which is good when you're pounding on it, but not good when you need to move it around to do different things in the shop. I got the bench, the old wood bench, taken out and all the drawers out and kind of dusted off. Next, what I'm going to do is cut these legs off right here, and then I will put a caster on so that it's in like that. So that'll put casters on all these and keep it about the same height, because that's pretty close. So you can see that caster will bring it back up to the height that was. All right, legs are cut off and faceplate is now off. All right, so there it is, a little bit more disassembled and lots of sanding on the top, and that's kind of cleaned it up. So I'm thinking I might go for a natural look, do a varathane on top, and paint the bottom either white or tan to match the walls. All right, so doing a little repair on the top here. For those of you who do a lot of work on benches, you don't want those gaps between the boards, because junk just falls down into your drawers or whatever is down there. So you want a nice, what would I call it, continuous top. So what I've done is filled in the gaps here with a wood putty, a wood filler type material. Hopefully it stains. I'm going to put a coat of varathane, so hopefully that comes out nice, looking nice. We'll see. But it is a bench, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'll show you the legs now. So the lower part of the bench, the legs and the cross members and the back, are all getting a coat of Kills paint as to begin with, because it's pretty old wood. It's going to soak up the paint, so we'll do a coat of Kills all over everything. And that'll keep the wood preserved pretty well, and then I'll put a coat of... So I've tightened everything up, sanded it down, put a little stain on it. So I've installed the casters on it, put it, it's not completely back together, but it's close enough. I've got a little bit more cleaning up to do on it. And this is where the vise was before, right here. So I'll remount the vise. But the beauty of it is now I can move it around the shop and use it as another work station, if you might. So, all right, well, as projects go, it's about a month later. You saw this just a second ago, but now it's a month later for me. I've been working on some other projects in here. But I've also decided to go ahead and reinstall the drawers that were in here, clean them up, get them looking a lot nicer, and get them all tightened up. And I'm also going to mount them with these fully extendable, soft close drawer slides. And that'll make these very useful drawers. So there's the old template from the front right there. And it's got 6 drawers that will go in here. And then below those 6 drawers, I'm going to put a shelf where 3 of these plastic totes can go in there. So I'll have room for 3 plastic totes down here, 6 drawers, and it'll all be up off the ground so we can continue to roll this around and clean underneath it, which was one of the big goals. I don't have the vise mounted, and in fact, I took it off so that I can do all this install of the drawers. But we'll get right to that. Well, after a lot of measuring and careful cutting, there's the frame that goes onto the front of the bench. This will go here. And here are the drawer components, the sides, the backs. I haven't cut the front panel yet, but I will do that in just a bit. And then this plywood back here will be the base of the floor, or the bottom of the drawer, if you might. So it's coming together, and of course you can see now the idea here is that this is one of the toolboxes, and it's slid over here so I have a big workspace. I can also slide it down there and use it to cut long pieces like that one down there. I had been slicing off bits for the frame here. So now it's a matter of assembling the frame, attaching it to the front here, making sure I get it good and solid. I've got to put a divider in the middle that's going to hold all of the drawer slides for the center. So there'll be drawer slides on the center of the drawers for either side here, and then there'll be a series of drawer slides over here, and hopefully everything fits. This is, I don't know, 8 pages of measurements. There's the frame all measured out. These are the individual pieces of the boxes, or the drawers. But you can see I've kind of gone through and tried to anticipate everything. Even with that, I have a couple of wrong cuts, but not too many at this point. So, all right, let's keep going. All right, so I'm going to start the process. I'm using Tight Bond for glue, and then I'm going to use 1.5 inch brads with my nailer. So that's an 18 gauge, 1.5 inch. And I'll sort of toenail them in. Let's get started here with glue first. Let me come around to this side. All right, there it is, all glued up. And I've got most of the joints with a staple in them. Some of them I left a little so that I can get to them a little easier when I lift it up. But hopefully that all fits. And then we'll puzzle this together with the drawers, because you want to get close, but really the opening here is what's going to tell me exactly what size the drawers should be. Small note, I wish my custom millwork was as precise as I'd like it to be, but you know, sometimes you just got to make adjustments as you go along. So hopefully everything's the way I measured it, but we'll find out. All right, well, there's the frame. It's the next day, so it's dried off. So this is framed all put together, and you can see where the drawers go, obviously. This is just sitting on the ground, so it'll lift up to there. Now I need to figure out structure so that I can support all of the drawers well. And I think I've got it figured out. 2x4s down below will give it a good base. So next step is to get this and the structures attached and to redo the measurements on the drawers, because yes, as I figured out, once you get the frame built, then you go back and relook at the drawer sizes, because these are just slightly different from everything I've measured before, but that's not a problem. We'll just have to do some recutting on and trimming down a little bit more. All right, so after a great deal of puzzling and measuring still, this will be the drawer setup. So this is the front of the drawer, and that's where the slide will go, or approximately there. And this height and width should slide into our drawer opening just fine. And that's what I mean by the drawer opening, that hole there. And the width coming back, or the depth of the drawer, is just fine too. So I'm going to glue that one drawer up and then make sure it fits and everything goes together the way it's supposed to. All right, got the staples in, got the glue on. We'll let this glue dry. I needed to do this, hook it down here, because it was just slightly askew. So I want the drawer to be good and flat on top and bottom, which it should be. And so when I do this, when I tighten it down and let the glue staple it and put glue on it, it should dry flat. Let's hope. All right, let's let that dry and we'll come back to it and see how it looks as a drawer. All right, so here it is upside down. I'm just continuing to attach bits and pieces to it. I'm gonna get these crossbars attached. There's one there and there. I've gotten the back attachments for the drawer slides. That's the front and back. See it in there. There we go, right there. And I've got the measurements all figured out for drawer width and how the drawer slides will go in there. So once I get everything attached, I'll turn it back over. We'll get the front cleaned up and get that attached permanently. And then we'll start to install drawers. All right, so here it is painted, back upright, so you can see what's going on. And here are those supports we just talked about. This is where the drawer slide will come across there and over there on that, for that side, and the same thing over here. So there'll be drawer slides across here and here and there and there. Now the trick is on this one is that when I built all of this, I didn't get this quite square. Let me come up here a little bit. So the distance between there and there isn't the same, exactly the same as this distance. And because drawer slides need to be mostly as parallel as you can possibly get them, I need to shim these in just slightly on all these sides to be able to get the distance for the drawer width basically to be the same all the way back. That was just my bad. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. All right, so this is an example. I'll be doing this for each drawer, but it turns out one of these shims that you can buy at the big box stores, Home Depot or Lowe's, you buy a pack of these shims for shimming. But one of those is sufficient if I put one on either side of the drawer. That's just enough. That's about 3/8 of an inch on either side to bring this in so that the dimensions are exactly parallel across here. So a pretty easy fix, but nonetheless, I think, well, I should have done better. Should have gotten this spacing closer to what I needed to do, but we'll fix it and nobody will be the wiser. So I'll go ahead and start putting supports in. These, I'm going to put supports across here. This one I may not need to, because these two are pretty good strong supports. but we'll see how it goes. By the way, by the supports, I meant this board here coming across between these two. I don't know that I'll need one across between these two, because I think the drawer slide can screw into this one and give it sufficient strength, so I don't need anything in the middle. All right, so there's the first drawer installed, and let's see here. Seems to be working just fine. Notice it comes all the way out here. That's the full extend and then back in, and the soft close as it pulls it in, like that. So, looks good. This distance looks good. A little crooked there, but I think that's just this piece is slightly off. This side looks good, and the back looks good. So, I think we're ready to make the rest of the drawers now. We've done a test drawer. So, looking good. Let me show you from the side here, or probably more from the top. There we go. So you can see it open here. There we go. All the way out, like that. There we go. So it's fully extended. You can see the edge of the drawer. You can get to everything in here. And then as you close it, it does a soft close. And there we go. Okay, so let's keep going. We'll build the rest of these drawers. So by the way, this is how the soft close works. So here's the drawer slide, and it rolls out that way. So that's the drawer opening. And as it comes out in, so it's out now, this part is what causes the soft close. And I'll show you. So it comes back in, and the minute it clicks, it draws the drawer slide back in slowly. And the way it does that is, let's see if I can do this one-handed. Hang on a second here. There we go. There's this little pin right here. And what it does is when this pin is pushed in this way, it comes in like that. And so that's the mechanism that draws it in slowly, and that's built into these two. So, and when it's working, it'll pull this out. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. It'll pull this back out. Oops, and this pin, there we go, will engage. So there's the pin engaged, and then when it clicks it, it draws it back in. And then the drawer, when you pull it out, it comes out and clicks back in. So there's a thing right about here that pushes that pin over. There it goes. Good. So that's how that works. And the full extension, forgot to show you that. So that works because there's a double slide on this thing. So this is the drawer fully extended now. And there's two sliders. There's one here and there's one there. Can you see that? How it's got two different things sliding. There's this one and this one, and that's how they get that full extension. In this case, these are good drawer slides because they have metal ball bearings in there. You can see them in there. Some drawer slides don't have that, and so this is good. This is kind of an all-metal slide area here. This part is plastic, but that doesn't see the weight of the drawer. So when the drawer is fully extended, the weight is hanging on these ball bearings, and you want those to be good and solid. Okay, so there we go. It's all back in now, and it draws back in. Good. Well, so a whole lot of sawing and measuring and sawing, and this is what we get, is the sides and backs are cut, and now I'm going to cut the bases. We'll speed that up for you. So All right, finally. Drawers are all in. Open and close just fine. Here we go. I will say that was more of a chore than I had bargained for. And it's a lot of what I said is that the drawer slides have to be mounted just right or they won't work. They have to be parallel, and the spacing for the rails has to be just right, and the closing mechanism in the back to get it activated has to be just right. So, you know, with some shimming and some careful work, got them all working. Okay, on to putting the drawer fronts on. And that's going to be these guys here that I think I showed you before. And they're going to get mounted over the top of this after I paint them. So, next thing to do is get these painted. So here's just a close-up of that mechanism working. Let me come around this side, it might be easier to see. So, again, these have to be mounted so that the spacing when the drawer is finally installed is exactly the same on either side. There we go. And back here, the closing mechanism, which is here, has this little tab that has to be hit by that. And if it's not spaced right, they won't do that. They won't close. And that's what pulls it back in like that. And when it opens up, it has to pull them back out. So, but all's well that ends well. And there we go. So, next is drawer fronts. All right, so there's the first of the two drawer fronts that are just hooked on from the back. I'll show you here. I put a couple of screws in it in the back here just to hold it in place. And then the handles that we've chosen are these kind of handles. They're kind of old school, but I like that look. And plus, I can put these screws all the way through. The screws will come in from the front all the way through the drawer front into the back side, and that'll make these good and strong. Could even put a bolt through there and really make them strong, because these are going to be heavy duty ones, but I think a construction screw will do just fine. Well, it turns out the easiest way to install these and get them right is just to lay it on its back like that. So there's the casters, and it's kind of heavy, so I used my little pulley system to lay it down. No big deal. And now I can go ahead and install those and get them all spaced correctly. So there's all the drawer fronts laid out on it. And the thing about this kind of setup is that it's not so much the drawers themselves have to line up, it's the drawer fronts, because that's what you really see. So I want to get these so that they're all lined up this way and lined up that way. And they're pretty close right now, but we'll go ahead and get them spot on, and then we'll put the handles in. I've already pre-drilled the holes so that the handles are spaced appropriately, and we'll get on with it. All the drawer fronts on it will all work. I've reinforced them a little bit by putting a screw from the back side as well as these screws from the front. So that should be plenty strong to hold that drawer front on and keep everything together. So now that they're all in place, it's time to put that top back on. We'll get that hooked down, and then we'll put the vise on, and it will be ready to rock and roll. All right, so there's the vise all installed. We've got a lag bolt there and two nut and bolts here on the other side as well. So that's hooked down nice and tight. I've also hooked through these holes. I've used 3.5-inch construction screws to go down there. So I would say that top is on there good and tight. And now I'm going through and putting these back in. These are the original wooden dowels, I guess you call them, that go in here in these holes over to the top of the screws. And once that's done, I think we'll be, there's one that went right in. I think we'll be pretty close to being done here. All right, so finally done with this project. There's the bench top all loaded on. Rolls just fine. It's open on the bottom and the back there, so the dirt won't collect down in some sort of chamber down there. The top is all refinished and sealed, so we won't have junk falling down through those cracks into the drawers. Drawers all work and they'll close. So I'm going to call that one done, and I want to thank you all for sticking with me through this journey, and we'll catch you on the next video. So please like and subscribe down here, and like I say, we'll catch you on the next video. Good luck with your projects. Bye.